Hello everyone. This video is a quick orientation to how Princh wireless printing works. Princh is a way to print from any device, a phone, a tablet, a laptop, a library, public computer. And the patron can print from home and then come to the library to do it or print while they're in there with your support. And in any case, what they're going to be doing is visiting this website, print.princh.com. And if they're on the phone, they're going to open up their browser on their phone if they're using Chrome or Safari. Same deal on their laptop or on your PCs. In any case, get into the web browser and enter that website address. When they get there, they're going to see this. Please select your printer by entering a printer ID. So your printer ID is a 6-digit code that identifies the printer in your library. So this is something you need to figure out and have posted, have a poster up by your computers or by your printer, have it up on your website and be aware of it. So how do you find out what it is? So that takes us to the other important website to know for Princh is the admin side. So you can get to this area by typing in admp.princh.com, and that takes you to the admin area. Managers who've met with us to have Princh installed have accounts created for them. And then managers can go into the user accounts area to make more accounts for staff or talk to us for support with that step. To find out what your printer ID is, you simply go to the locations and printers area here on the left-hand side. And you can see I'm using Bakerville as an example. Thanks, Bakerville. And so basically here's the printer that's being set up. And here the number in the middle, 109073. That's the printer ID for Bakerville. So for you, if you're another library, it's going to be something different, but you can find it out here in the admin side. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that number and we're going to go back here and run through an example of what it's like to print on a computer. And then I'm also going to show you what it's like to print from a phone to demonstrate that. But before we go further, if you are thinking, okay, how am I going to remember these websites and these details? Is there a reference point? If you go over to our knowledge base, nls.libanswers.com, come into here and just type in Princh. I've made two reference articles for you. So this first one here, how does Princh wireless printing work, is basically the contents of the cheat sheet that I've already sent out to managers, but I wanted to put it up here for your reference. And this first section here, it runs through the steps of what a patron needs to do to print on their end. And you could take this and put this onto your website if you would like, have these details. And we're going to walk through these steps. So basically, they visit this website, they enter the printer ID, they upload the documents they want to print, adjust the settings they'd like color, black and white, etc. And then here, there's this one detail to note, which is important, is how they're paying for it. So most libraries are doing pay at desk, which means when the patron gets to that spot, they'll just say pay at desk, and they'll be putting in their name in this process. They'll come and say to you and say, hey, I'm John, I've sent the print, and you can go into the admin area to see that and take payment. It's going to be a quarter or whatever, and release it. That's the sort of simplest method. It does require staff involvement. There is the possibility of electronic payments where the patron could pay with like a credit card and go through different steps to just go and release it without having to interact with the staff member, potentially. And I actually lay out those scenarios down here at the bottom, what do you have to do when a patron pays electronically. So if you want to take a look at that, you're welcome to, and talk to me if you have any questions about electronic payments. But to get started with, and for this tutorial, we're just going to be looking at the pay at desk option as it's the most straightforward. And so these instructions here are probably what you'd want to look at is what does a staff member have to do when a patron selects pay at desk, which is you go to the back end, the admin side, you'll see their print there and you release it. And we'll walk through those steps together. The other guide here, just as a note, how do I find my printer ID, is the steps we just walked through and I described to you, but I wanted to put them here just so you had a reference point to find the printer ID if you needed to. Okay, so we know Bakerville's printer ID. I'm going to type it in here. So that takes us through. You can see the printer name, the patron will be able to see if they are the right one here. And what we're going to do is we're going to select and upload a file. But first, I need a file to release. And I thought as an example, I would show you a helpful resource that Princh has. So if you go to the Princh Welcome Center, here's the website address for it, or you can just Google Princh Welcome Center. And there's helpful promotional materials and training materials here. And what I wanted to show you is this, how to make a poster that you can print off. This is a helpful resource for you to have. So let's go to make the poster. It wants the code again for the relevant library, so we'll use this one. And this basically generates a helpful poster that you could display at your library. Shows your prices and a QR code that patron could just scan to take them straight to the right spot instead of having to type in the code. The only problem with this is that actually the only instructions here at the top that are relevant are the ones in the middle. This one here is actually relating to a different type of print that we don't have, where you can like print directly from a computer instead of going through this website. So I actually wouldn't post this unless you wanted to explain that to patrons. So actually what I would recommend doing, obviously you could take this information to build your own version of this poster for sure. But if you wanted to just do this, you could say select guide type and instead do this one where it says print in 60 seconds. This is kind of a handy one where it's a lot simpler. It gives them the QR code that they can scan if they want to be using their phone. It says your name and it says your printer ID. So I'd recommend this one as a good one to get started with if you just want to find something to get rolling. So we're going to download this PDF. And then go back to the web app and we're going to select the file to upload it. Here it is. And this is where you can then select options like black and white or color. I want to do it in color. How many copies the patron wants. Other like more advanced settings if they wanted to get into like paper type and how many, like if it's a longer document, like what page range they want, that kind of stuff. They can do previews. And they can actually print multiple files at one time. So if you have multiple prints to do, they could do that here. They have to accept the terms and conditions and say continue. And here's the pay at desk option where it says enter your first name or a pseudonym. So this is how you'll be able to identify them on the other side. So we'll say order print. So it says now the print job is ready for release. Please contact the staff. Thank you for using Princh. So we're going to go back to the admin side and go to the dashboard. And here we can see the order to release. We can see my name, information about it, like how much it costs. And what we'll do here is just click this box, checkbox, and say release. I'm actually not going to click it because then it's going to pop up in Bakerville. So, but you would just say, all right, and if you wanted to take the payment from them, here's where you do it before you release it. So this is actually what it looks like when the only option available to them is pay at desk. So if they'd had other options available, they would have had to click through, like there would be an option for credit card here on this screen and Google Pay and that sort of thing, and then pay at desk. And so this is what it looks like when it's more streamlined. So this is what it's like to print from a computer, and we're going to go take a look now at what it's like to print from a phone.
Okay, so here we're going to demonstrate what it's like on a phone, in this case, an Android phone. So I've opened the browser on my phone, Chrome in this case, and I've visited the correct website here, print.princh.com. And I'm going to enter the printer ID. So as you can see, it's the same kind of interface as you have on a computer. So there it is. Takes me through. And the only tricky thing that you might encounter here is helping people find the right file on their phone. So it says click here to select and upload a file. It takes me through to this. You might see a screen before this where it's basically asking for permission to access the files on the phone, and it might say something like allow only this once or always allow, that kind of stuff. So you might have to explain that to patrons that, okay, like this is asking, can we get into the files? And so here we're going to go into files. And on a lot of phones, you're going to find that it'll take you to a place where it shows you recent files, the most recently downloaded or created files. And here is the one that I've added as an example. It might be you have to fiddle around a little bit by clicking on these three lines and you can go into like a downloads area, for example, if you've recently downloaded it or something like that. It is important to know that if this document is an attachment to an email, they're going to have to download it so that you can see it in this area. If it is a PDF that's on a website, they're going to have to download it onto their phone so you can see it in this area. It basically has to be here in this files area for you to be able to access it and upload it into Princh. Another tool you have is to search for it if they know the file's name. But generally speaking, it's going to be something they're working with, they've just downloaded or created, and you probably will find it in this recents area. So here's the one that we're going to be printing. Just thinking about it. And whenever it's done, it's the same kind of interface here of you can see the price, you can add more files if you'd like to be printing those. It's half of this training video. Okay, there we go. So, and then we're going to accept the terms and conditions and say continue and enter in our name so the staff can see that. And that's all there is on this end. And then if I was the patron, I would, go up to the staff member and say, hey, I've sent a print. So let's go take a look at what that looks like.
Okay, and so here is the print that I just sent from my phone. You can see it here. I accidentally made it black and white. That's fine. And it's the same process, checkbox, and then hit click release to send it to the printer or delete if we don't want to have it anymore. So that's all there is to it. That's how it works to send prints to Princh through a web browser, whether it be on a computer or on a device like a phone. Please reach out if you have any questions, and we will help you get it sorted out.